A word about witnesses. If you have witnesses that you want to be part of your case, let's first evaluate whether they're going to be witnesses that are worthwhile. If there's somebody that's just going to say something that they've heard, that's not a good witness. Most of the time people will say, oh, my mama has heard everything about this, or my best friend knows all about it. Well, the fact that they heard it from you does not make them a good witness. They would have had to have actually witnessed something that occurred so they could give independent testimony about what happened rather than just parroting back something that you've said. Other witnesses that bear out in consideration are teachers. If you want a teacher to testify, first of all, it's a good thing to know what they're going to say. And if they're going to say that both parents are equally as helpful or equally as involved in the child's life, is it really helpful? Not so much. And I don't want you to spend extra time and money in bringing people in that aren't going to help. Now, if it is somebody who has actual knowledge of something that's happened within the marriage, then they would be a good witness. Sometimes adult children are good witnesses. Sometimes you can have character witnesses that say you generally are a good person, that you're not violent, that you show up to work on time. So there's a whole litany of things that you can do with witnesses, but you just want to make sure that you know what they're going to say for the most part. Sometimes you're going to call witnesses that are adverse witnesses. Maybe you're going to call your spouse's new boyfriend or new girlfriend, but you want to know what that person's going to say, and you generally want to give them an opportunity to talk with the lawyer handling your case so we can see if that's a credible witness, if the witness is actually going to have anything to say, and to help prepare them. But not tell them what to say. Lots of times when people, especially children, when they testify in their case, the other lawyer will say, have you talked to Miss Daniel? Well, of course they have, because I'm not going to let a child walk in the courtroom without having some familiarity with the questions going to be asked. I'm not going to tell them what to say, but I want them to feel comfortable with the situation. Certainly do not coach your witnesses, so don't tell them what to say. Even if you know that they have knowledge that maybe they just don't remember. Recently, I had a client who said, my aunt can testify about all the times my wife said she was going to kill herself. When the aunt got on the stand, I asked her if she ever knew that the woman had tried to attempt suicide or had talked about it. She said, no, I don't remember that ever happening. So even though my client thought that she had memories of that, she didn't, and actually she was pretty old. So you have to make sure that don't tell them what to say, but know that they're going to actually have something that's valuable, because there's nothing worse than wasting the court's time. Now, sometimes you just want to have what we call good parent witnesses. Good parent witnesses are just witnesses that are going to come in and say, I've seen them at church together. The kids are always dressed well. This is always going on. This is always going on. But those are not that helpful unless there's some sort of argument that you're not fit. Because if it's clear that you're a good parent, nobody's making an allegation that you're not, then why would we have that kind of witness? Not useful. All right, that's all I have for witnesses. If you have any questions about witnesses, then just be sure and call the office and send an email to the lawyer representing you, and we'll go over with you who your witnesses might be. And if you're already set for a hearing or trial, we'll talk to you about what we need to do to get the witnesses in. Sometimes witnesses need subpoenas, sometimes witnesses don't. Thank you.